Flight 770 disappeared somewhere above the Pacific Ocean in 2013. No distress call, no wreckage. The plane simply vanished without a trace. Until one stormy night, the air traffic controller noticed something impossible appearing on the radar. A signal. The identification code matched Flight 770 exactly. Everyone thought it had to be a system malfunction because the aircraft should have been gone for 13 years. Minutes later, the aircraft emerged from the storm clouds. The plane looked ancient. Its metal body was covered in rust. Several windows were cracked, and the landing lights flickered weakly. The aircraft landed safely on the runway. No emergency response team wanted to approach it because, deep down, everyone knew something inside that aircraft should not have returned. The investigation team entered the aircraft carefully, flashlights shaking, weapons drawn. The emergency lights inside the cabin glowed dark red. Rows of passengers sat completely motionless in their seats, still buckled in. Some bodies looked partially decomposed. Others looked untouched. But every single passenger was staring straight ahead. One of the investigators slowly walked deeper into the cabin, his flashlight moving across the frozen faces. Then he noticed movement. The passengers' eyes were moving, slowly turning to look directly at him. He panicked instantly, but things became even worse as he continued deeper into the cabin. Food trays still sat open. Coffee cups remained half full. The clocks inside the cabin were frozen at exactly 12 a.m. The exact time Flight 770 disappeared 13 years ago. Then the cockpit door slowly creaked open by itself. Inside, both pilots were still sitting at the controls, their skin rotting away in patches. The black box was recovered shortly afterward. Investigators hoped it would explain what had happened, but instead, it became one of the most disturbing recordings ever recovered from an aircraft. The audio began normally. Then suddenly, the cockpit crew began shouting about black figures, crawling across the outside of the aircraft windows. Seconds later, the recording captured people crying and praying while violent shaking tore through the cabin. And then, everything went silent. Completely silent. Nobody ever discovered what happened to them. After hearing the tape, authorities immediately ordered the aircraft quarantined. But before sunrise, something impossible happened. The cabin lights suddenly turned back on. Security cameras also captured shadowy figures surrounding the decaying aircraft, as if passengers were boarding it once again. Then the aircraft slowly began moving across the runway without permission. The plane disappeared into the thick morning fog. And according to radar records, Flight 770 is still out there somewhere above the ocean, still flying through the dark, still requesting permission to land. Max disappeared on a Tuesday evening. One moment, he was playing in the backyard. The next, he was standing at the edge of the woods, completely still, just staring into the trees. Then he ran inside and never came back out. We searched until sunrise. We searched the next day and the day after that, but there was no sign of him. 3 days later, we gave up. That night, a storm rolled across the valley. Rain slammed against the windows while my family sat quietly in the living room. Then somebody knocked on the glass window. And there was Max, standing outside, soaking wet, staring at us without making a sound. My dad said Max was probably exhausted, but even after we brought him inside, he never touched his food. He never drank any water. He just sat in the hallway facing the front door for hours, as if he were waiting for something. Around 3 in the morning, I woke up to a strange scratching noise downstairs. It was coming from the front door. I thought Max wanted to go outside, but Max was already sitting there facing the door, completely motionless. The scratching from outside continued, louder this time, more desperate. Claws dragging across wood. My dad grabbed a flashlight and looked through the glass. He immediately stumbled backward. His face went completely white, because standing on the porch was Max. The real Max. Covered in mud, shivering from the cold, scratching at the door, and trying to get inside, trying to get away from something. My dad slowly turned toward the dog that had been inside our house for hours. It was staring directly at him now, and smiling. Not a dog smile, a human smile. Its head tilted slowly to one side, too far, far enough that we heard bones cracking inside its neck. Then it stood up, and for the first time, it didn't look like a dog anymore. Nobody knows exactly what happened next. My family never talks about that night, but sometimes. When storms pass through the valley, people hear scratching at their front doors around 3 in the morning. And if they look through the window, they see their missing pet outside, begging to be let in, while something that looks exactly like it is already sitting inside the house. We went into the forest looking for proof that Slenderman wasn't real. At first, everything felt normal. We laughed and made jokes about stupid online stories. But the deeper we walked, the stranger things became. We started finding symbols hanging from the trees, and every time I checked the footage, there was something standing behind us. Then, that thing got closer. The worst part was that none of us could see it, only the camera could. The next strange thing was the trees. We had been walking through the forest for hours, yet we kept finding the same tree again and again. And that's when the argument started. Tyler blamed Josh for getting us lost. Josh yelled back, saying Tyler was panicking for no reason. Their voices echoed through the trees. And then suddenly, Tyler stopped talking mid-argument. We turned around, and Tyler was gone without a trace, except for his flashlight lying on the ground. We started searching for Tyler, and then the camera glitched again. Hidden inside the distortion, there was something standing behind us. Tall, unnaturally tall, and its face completely white. We ran immediately. Branches tore at our clothes while the camera shook violently. Then Josh tripped. I turned for 1 second, and I saw that thing crawling over him silently. But before I could grab Josh's hand, the camera glitched again, and when the static cleared, Josh was gone too. I was completely alone after that, trying not to breathe too loudly, before I noticed something horrifying. Something was standing behind my tree, long fingers slowly curling around the bark. The camera fell sideways, and the last thing it recorded was Slenderman leaning down toward me. The next morning, police found our abandoned campsite. Backpacks and broken camera equipment were scattered everywhere. They never found us. Only one damaged video file remained inside the camera. And investigators say that if you pause the footage at the right frame, you can see him standing between the trees, waiting for someone to enter that forest. The old theater had been abandoned for nearly 30 years, after a ballerina died in a tragic accident. But every single night, the stage lights still turned on by themselves. Most people thought it was just an electrical problem, until one night, an elderly janitor decided to investigate. He followed the sound through the empty theater. And there, standing beneath a single spotlight, was the ballerina. She wore an old white dress covered in dust. Her skin looked cracked like porcelain, and her eyes were completely black.
The show must continue.
Then she started dancing gracefully, as if she were performing for a full audience. The janitor tried to run, but suddenly the entire theater erupted into applause. He turned to look around and nearly screamed because he was no longer alone. Every single row was occupied by shadowy audience figures, watching the ballerina's performance. Encouraged by the applause, the ballerina kept spinning faster and faster until her ankle bent completely backward, bones tearing through her skin. But she never stopped dancing, as if she could no longer feel pain. Then all the audience figures slowly turned toward the janitor at the same time, as if they were demanding another performance. The ballerina saw him and slowly walked down the stage stairs toward him. That was when the janitor discovered the truth. She was the famous ballerina who had collapsed and died during her final performance. The audience thought it was part of the act, so they kept applauding while she died on stage. Now, every midnight since that day, she still returns to finish her performance, even as the theater decays around her. And the last thing the janitor remembered was the ballerina taking his hand and guiding him into a dance with her. He disappeared after that night. He was never seen again. Police only found his flashlight lying near the center of the stage. The security footage recovered afterward showed the old man dancing beside the ballerina beneath the spotlight, and in the final frame before the camera died, the ballerina slowly turned toward the screen. She smiled and bowed to the audience.